What is up, First Pres families, and welcome to the last week of our series 5K Run the Race. All throughout the month of May, we have explored the importance of commitment. To run the race of life, you need to train and grow stronger every day, and you can show commitment by making a plan and putting it into practice. Today, we are going to look at how we live for God and how the actions of one woman changed the conversation about what it meant to give to God.
Plans for me are good. You hold my future. You're working all the time. You're the mountain mover. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again. You're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through. And everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. I'll trust your every word, 'cause I believe that you're working for my good. Yes, you're committed. From sunrise to sunset, till the sun comes back up again, you're by my side. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me. And everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You are my hope, you are my future. You are the mountain mover. You are faithful. You started a good work in me. I know that you will complete it. You will see it through, yeah. I know that you're still working on me. And everything that you say you'll do, 'cause I believe that you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful, oh, you are faithful.
Hey everyone! I'm Erica, and I just ran a 5K race this afternoon! I didn't win, but I also didn't give up. I made it all the way to the finish line, so it's time to celebrate! Yeah! Oh man, I have been training all month for this race, so it has taken a lot of commitment. Commitment is making a plan and putting it into practice. I made a plan, and I practiced a lot. All that running. And strength training. And even training my brain. For a month, it's like training has been my life. Like, I thought about this race constantly. When I decided what to eat. Oh, when I chose how to spend my time. From morning until night, I kept my mind on the race. That's what you gotta do when you truly commit to something. Like, you've gotta live like it's important to you. Today's story is about a woman who lived her whole life that way. I'll see you when you get back. I've gotta get this party started!
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, Stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Mark, chapter 12, verses 41 through 44.
When Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey the week before Passover, the crowds were excited.
Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna! In the name of the Lord!
But the religious leaders were not.
He's turning the world upside down.
We'll have to fix that, won't we?
All week, the religious leaders sent men to try trapping Jesus with trick questions.
Teacher, is it right to pay taxes to Caesar?
Every time, Jesus gave a wise answer that caught them off guard.
Give back to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give back to God what belongs to God.
Jesus knew the religious leaders were so puffed up with pride, they didn't want people to listen to anyone else. Jesus even warned the crowds about them.
Watch out for the teachers of the law. They love to have the most important seats. They take over the houses of widows. They say long prayers to show off.
One afternoon, Jesus and his disciples visited the temple. They sat down to rest for a moment across from the box where people came to put money they offered to God. Perhaps the disciples, mostly poor fishermen themselves, were impressed by the rich men giving gifts.
Check out his robes.
I think they actually might be silk.
Jesus watched the rich men dropping handfuls of gold coins into the box. He knew that, like the religious leaders, they were proud to show how important they were.
Check this out, world. Money, money, money. Always sunny in a rich man's world.
Even though these wealthy men were giving impressive amounts of money, Jesus knew they had so much, this was easy for them. Simply a drop in the bucket.
Huh. She looks a little out of place.
The next person in line clearly wasn't wealthy. In fact, her patched robe showed she didn't have an extra cent to spare.
A widow, probably.
At that time, if a woman's husband died, she had no way to earn money and often had to live on next to nothing.
2 pennies?
How's that gonna help anyone?
Jesus was watching the woman too, but he saw something different, something more.
Come over here, all of you.
The disciples gathered around Jesus.
What I'm about to tell you is true. That poor widow has put more into the offering box than all the others.
Jesus' friends tried to sort it out.
Excuse me, pennies versus gold?
You couldn't buy an order of fish nuggets with that.
Jesus knew what his disciples were thinking.
The others all gave a lot because they are rich, but she gave even though she is poor. She put in everything she had. That was all she had to live on.
Oh.
When you put it like that.
The rich men, like the religious leaders, were concerned with what things looked like on the outside. They didn't want to give in a big way that might force them to change on the inside. But the poor woman, who had almost nothing, chose to give everything. And Jesus saw her heart and knew that her pennies were worth far more than the rich men's gold.
Nobody else thought a poor woman giving 2 small coins was a big deal. But Jesus saw the truth. Other people gave because they were rich. This woman gave everything she had because she was putting her trust in God. She was living for Him. And that's something to celebrate. Woo! Yeah! Living for God is about more than giving money. It's about trying to include God in every part of your day. It's about asking yourself before every choice you make, does this honor God? I could copy my friend's homework or do the work myself, like I'm supposed to. I'm gonna do the work. Or ask yourself, Does what I'm about to do show love to others? My friend didn't get me anything for my birthday. Should I get even by giving her nothing? Or should I forgive her? Well, I did already wrap it. She's gonna love it. If you ask yourself those questions, it'll help keep your mind on God. It'll help you think about how Jesus lived and loved others. This probably won't become a habit overnight. That's why the one thing to remember today is this: practice living for God. The more you practice asking yourself, does this honor God? And does this show love to others? The more natural it becomes. It feels good to commit to something and stick to it. I'm glad I committed to running a 5K. I feel stronger and healthier, and between you and me, I think I'm going to start training for another one. But first, we celebrate! See you around!
Sometimes the biggest lessons come from small places. The disciples all thought that the big gifts mattered the most, but Jesus showed them the truth. What matters is our heart and our desire to serve and live for God. So now let's dive into our key question together. How can you live for God? Feel free to pause the video and dive into this question. When you're ready, hit play and we'll be waiting for you.
It's time again for Retro Reel.
Running! One of the oldest sports in the world. Millions of people run every day, and not just because they're being chased. No, they run for fun.
I like to run. I like to run very long days. I like to run and never stop running. I was born to run. Did I mention I like to run?
Dude, I like to run races, and I like to train, but I only like to train by running races. See, I'm training right now, and I'm running in a race. You can't tell the difference.
Man, I love to run, especially along this here fence post. All you gotta do is run right next to it. Well, until you hit the barbed wire at the end.
It's so peaceful out here, except for the airplanes. Actually, I'm not sure why they're out here. This is a runway. It's for running, not for airplanes. But as long as you don't get run over or landed on or knocked sideways because of all the wind, it's a wonderful place to run and train. So peaceful.
Some people think running is just walking really fast. It's not. It takes a lot of commitment to be a runner because you have to make a plan of how you're going to train and then put that plan into practice. Heather and Arthur know all about that commitment because they've been training partners for over 25 years.
We started training when I was 3. We had a set schedule. On Mondays, we'd run to the mailbox and back. Tuesdays, we'd run around the yard. Wednesdays, we'd had an off day. Then Thursdays, we'd have the dog chase us to work on our speed. Now we've added in stretching, like the T-stretch and swim stretch, and my favorite, the Canadian gooseneck lean back and bend over stretch. Always good.
I wish we still had the dogs chase us around. Now that was real commitment and 100% motivating.
Your plan can be different than others, like John's, who prefers to train and race simultaneously.
Yeah, dude. I just combined the two. It may not be everyone's deal, but that plan works for me. Kind of like nachos. The key is putting it into practice and staying committed to what you came up with.
Then you have some whose plan is so intense, they almost can't quit running. Max is a super marathoner. His idea of stretching is a 5K, followed by an easy uphill sprint to his local grocery store, where he picks up some honey buns.
I feel like God made me to run. When you commit to something, you practice it, yeah? So I practice 2 things, running and living for God. Oh, and yodeling. So I practice 3 things.
Running. It may be one of the oldest sports in the world, but it shows what someone can do with commitment, dedication, and a good pair of sneakers. And when you make a plan and put it into practice.
As we wrap up, let's say our memory verse together. Training the body has some value, but being godly has value in every way. It promises to help for the life you are now living and the life to come. 1 Timothy 4:8. And thanks for joining us today for our final week of 5K Run the Race. Come join us again next week as we dive into a new series on confidence and learning to see ourselves the way God sees us. Be sure to check out the link in the description below for more info on all things children's. And whether you are joining us in person or online, we are so glad that you are here. See you next week.
Monday morning, up and running, it's just begun. A brand new day, no time to waste, gonna get it done. So many plans, so much to do, but that's okay, I'm gonna see it through. 'Cause day after day, and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. Gonna make a plan, I know I can see it to the end. Every moment I keep on and do the best I can. I won't give in, I won't give up. No, gotta give my all and that's enough. Hey, 'cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. 'Cause day after day and time after time, I'm gonna do what I say. I made up my mind, I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I won't give in, oh, I won't give up, no. Gonna give my all, yeah, and that's enough. I won't give in, oh, I won't give up, no. Gonna give my all, yeah, and that's enough. 'Cause day after day, and time after time, I'm gonna do just what I say. And I made up my mind, I'll follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. I'll follow through, don't you forget it. Oh yeah, it's true, you know I'm committed. 'Cause